Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. And not just an MVP discussion anymore. We're talking about a playoff game with a trip potentially to Kansas City on the line to see who goes to the Super Bowl. This is cinema. What we're experiencing right now, or we're about to experience Sunday evening, I believe they play at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, is going to be insane. Because we're going to have Josh Allen fans versus Lamar Jackson fans, Buffalo Bills fans versus Baltimore Ravens fans. It's going to be nuts, and it's going to be all held in Buffalo, New York. The best football team in New York. This is crazy. We couldn't have, I know clickbait titles and stuff are going to be like, this is for the MVP. Excuse me. They're going to be like, oh, this is for the MVP. No, it's not. The MVP is a regular season award. Leave it over there. We're talking about the Super Bowl right now. We're talking about something bigger. We're talking about the team sport, the whole reason you go play those 17 games. This is the divisional round coming up. This is going to be beautiful football. And there's a bunch of storylines teeing up, despite what happens tonight against with the game with the Rams and Vikings, right? It's insane what we're going to witness in Buffalo, New York. In my opinion, that is game of the week, right? And I'm sure the Texans-Chiefs game is going to be good. I'm sure all the other games are going to be wonderful. But that Buffalo Bills-Baltimore Ravens game is going to be butters, man. It's going to be butter. Because both teams are coming off dominating their opponent. And I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for Brandon Stevens, the game wouldn't have even been as closer than the ending score made it seem, because really the Ravens whooped them 28-0. I know it says 28-14, but really it should be like 28-0, 28-7 most, at most. Man, oh man. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Buffalo's defense, Baltimore's defense, man. It's queuing up for something special, man, because it's not going to be an easy game for either team. It's just not. I know Baltimore whooped the shit out of Buffalo early in the season, but that doesn't really mean anything because these are two completely different teams now. Baltimore's defense is way better than it was facing Buffalo. And Buffalo's offense is way better than it was when facing Baltimore's defense. But I'll tell you this. In my opinion, it shouldn't matter to the players because the players be like, yo, it's 0-0. We just got to go. But in my opinion, as a fan watching the game, right, and analyzing the game, the only reason why I would say that game matters is because if you execute in the way that you did in that game, there's no reason why you shouldn't beat the Buffalo Bills. I'm not saying whoop the Buffalo Bills, but I'm saying beat the Buffalo Bills. I personally think that this game, whoever's going to win is going to be around 10 points. A 10-point win is where I'm seeing. I can see a 10-point win minimum, like a 5-point win, like 5 to 10 points. I that's where I'm seeing it right now. Because I'm seeing it not necessarily going back and forth. I see it as a battle of just like will, about execution, about discipline, man. Because the Buffalo is going to watch the tape of Derrick Henry. They're going to watch the tape of the game they played in the regular season, and they're going to watch the tape from the wild card round. And they're going to be like, listen, we're not going to let Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson do what they did to the Pittsburgh Steelers to us. Easier said than done, because in my opinion, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are the best quarterback running back tandem in the history of the NFL. And this is year one with them together. Year one had Derrick Henry almost rushing for 2,000 yards and Lamar almost rushing for 1,000 yards. That is how dangerous this. That's absurd, bro. And they played the entire season, no injuries. That's insane. To take that much punishment is insane. That's how lethal they are, bro. It's easier, like I said, it's much easier said than done. So what it really comes down to is how how disciplined will Buffalo's defense be? Will they be able to get pressure and collapse the pocket to stop that RPO, to stop these run options? Because if not, Baltimore will dice them up. Because you saw, if you've seen, now going to Baltimore side, if you watch the Bills Broncos game, there was one thing for sure, and that is that the Bills have a tough time stopping the run. Now, Sean Payton, and this is a completely different topic, I don't want to sprint off it too much, but relating to this, a part of the Broncos' problem against the Bills was, I feel, from what I look like, I'm not no professional here, but what I look like is that Sean Payton kept running. He was very predictable with his play calling. That's what I'm trying to say. Very predictable with his runs, very predictable with his pass options, and then they'll run these halfback, these like stretch the line, let the line move, but then they'll get tackled for a loss, and then be in obvious passing situations. And when you do stuff like that, you become very predictable. It doesn't matter what kind of, it just doesn't really mean much with your offensive play calling because it's just too predictable. And you have professionals on the other side of the ball, which is on the defense, that's going to stop it. Baltimore's defense is not nearly as simple or Baltimore's offense is not nearly as simple as the Broncos' offense. And they also have a seasoned quarterback and running back tandem. And hopefully they get Zay Flowers back, which will add another part of the confusion that he offers with his constant motions, and he's going to help get guys open like Rashad Bateman, like Mark Andrews, like Isaiah Likely. Von Miller is going to be the X factor on the defensive side of the ball for the Buffalo Bills to see if he can get that pressure, because he's going to be responsible for a lot, and it's going to be really unfortunate for his age, but he's still playing pretty well. He's going to be responsible for a lot of those gaps, or not a lot of the gaps, but his gap in particular. He's going to be responsible for maybe dropping back up in coverage, containing Lamar, chasing after. He's going to have a long day. He's going to have a long day. All are, but it's going to be a long day and it really depends on who's healthy, who's not. Because of, again, Zay Flowers is back. That adds a completely different dimension to their offense that they didn't have in the wild card round. So that'll be interesting. And obviously, if Zay Flowers plays, how limited is he going to be? What's his condition going to be like? How healthy he's going to be? Depending on how severe the injury is, I can see Zay Flowers not coming back until potentially a championship game if they make it or the Super Bowl. So, depending on how bad that knee was, there's a lot to this game, man. Josh Allen is going to be the best quarterback the Baltimore Ravens have faced in a long time. Josh Allen is going to air raid this thing, man. He's going to. Because one thing about Baltimore is that they have some thumpers on their squad, bro. That shit where Josh Allen's running and doing these things, he's not easy to tackle, regardless. But Baltimore has some people who do not care about their bodies, bro. They will thump Josh Allen. So it's going to come to Josh Allen passing the ball, air raiding the ball. It's going to come down to Josh Allen or, Joe Brady finding a good way to mix in James Cook and find a way to get that running game established to make it easier for Josh Allen. Because the last thing you want to do is do what Baltimore has done in years past, which is abandon the run and make their quarterback throw the ball more than they need to, because Baltimore has the best pass defense left in the playoffs, I believe. If they're not one, they're two. So you don't want to pass the ball on them like that if you don't need to. And don't get me wrong, the Bills have some great receivers. They do. But Baltimore has a much better pass defense than they did when they first faced and since. Like, it's tremendously better. They went from 32 to first or second. Come on. It's going to be a very interesting game, man. And for Baltimore's defense side, they have to disguise Brandon Stevens, bro. Because if I'm the Buffalo Bills, I'm target whoever is whoever offense on him, bro. Whoever 21 is guarding, we're cooking. We're cooking. And I'll continue to do that till you either get him off the field or you get him safety help. And they're going to have to get him over the top safety help. They're going to have to double whoever 21's guarding eventually, because he is getting cooked. He's getting cooked and he's getting targeted on purpose because he's just bad. And I'm not even talking about just man coverage. I'm talking about zone coverage. It don't matter what kind of coverage he's being played. God forbid it's man coverage, but zone coverage, even on zone, especially against who was the last game of the season, the Cleveland Browns, where it was zone coverage and he still got cooked with safety help over top. It's just a lot of stuff he does that's going to make him a huge Achilles heel for this defense, and he will be targeted. He will be targeted. So it just depends on him personally. What does he want his legacy to be this playoff run? And also, what does Zach Orr want to do to help disguise his defensive liability, if possible? You're going to have your hands full, right? You can't just afford to be helping on every single play, but there will come a time where it's like, yo, we got to help with safety over top or a linebacker passing off. There going to be a bunch of schemes I'm sure Zach Orr is going to do, but it's going to have to be an honest conversation in this locker room or in that defensive play calling room where it's like, yo, you're going to need to step up, and we're going to need Kyle Hamilton to come help. We're going to need Roquan Smith to kind of shadow and pass off, and then you just cover the flat, or you cover, because he's a big issue. So it's a lot of interesting things with this game, man. And for Lamar, I'm telling you, and I Josh Allen and Buffalo Bills fans, you're going to hate me saying this, but here's the honest to God truth. If Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry play the way they have played this whole season, like honestly the majority of the season after week 2, the Buffalo Bills are going to lose. Because one, this defense currently this current Baltimore Ravens defense is not going to let you score like that. They're just not. Since the first loss against the Steelers, and in that game especially, they do not let teams score like 30 plus. Like, you're not scoring 30 plus points on this team. Joe Burrow did it, but look what Joe Burrow did that to everybody. And even when Joe Burrow did that, the Ravens score even more. So, if Lamar Jackson can play to the level that we know he is playing at right now, there is not a single defense in the NFL that is left that can do anything against him. I'm sorry. I know it's the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they had their wills broken before even entering that stadium. But I'm telling you right now, it's because the shit that Lamar Jackson is doing, and he did to the Bills earlier this season, and they also had a roll over and die, is the same thing. He did to everybody this season, bro. But even the Chiefs, despite the Chiefs win that game, the Ravens were a tiptoe away from doing some damage. So, if Lamar plays the level he can play up, there's nothing you can do. And that's the reason, I'm not going to make this an MVP discussion, but that's the reason why I gave him the nod MVP over Josh Allen, over other players like Jared Goff, et cetera, is because a lot of other quarterbacks and players, even Saquon, at their best, of course, they're monsters. They can take over and win games by themselves. I understand that. Josh Allen catching, passing, lateraling, he's doing everything for touchdowns. I get that. Lamar Jackson playing at his best this season, is a nightmare because you cannot stop it. Every other player you can stop. Lamar Jackson at his best, you cannot stop him. There's nothing you can do to stop him if he's playing at his best. So you have to make him one come. Buffalo's, I think the Steelers said it during Hard Knocks. Lamar Jackson has a good day, good night. Go home. You're done. See you later. Go on vacation. If he has a good day, it's over for y'all. There's nothing, and I mean that for every team. I don't care if it's the Chiefs. I don't care if it's the Texans. If Lamar Jackson remembers who he is in the playoffs, which it looks like he has, it is over. Because every other year, what has it been? He's regressed. He does what James Harden has done, to make a comparison, has done in the playoffs, and just forgets who he is. And kind of like, doesn't take over. It doesn't lead. And not even just taking over when he needs to, but leading. He doesn't lead properly. Lamar Jackson woke the fuck up. He's locked in. If he plays to his ability, there's no chance. Because what are you doing? Even if you score, they're definitely going to score. There's games this season where either teams they win the coin toss but get the ball first. There's times where teams go for on fourth down because they know, and fourth down, no matter what part of the game and no matter what the situation is, because they know that if Lamar Jackson gets the ball, they're going to score, or they're going to take up so much of the clock that there's nothing left for you. Like, honestly, Josh Allen may have to play offense and defense, and I don't mean that as a joke. I mean that in the sense of he's going to have to score every time he touches the ball or as much as possible, and he's going to have to keep Lamar Jackson off the field. That's what I mean by defense. You have to keep Lamar. You have to keep number 8 off the field. The more possessions number 8 has, the more he has to figure out the defense. The more he gets a chance to ease into the game. You don't want him to do that. The more he sees the field, bro, the more it's a bad day. It's a bad day at the office. Yeah, it's a bad day at the office. But it's going to be a great game. Buffalo's going to give them a test, and Buffalo could, especially at home, Buffalo's really hard to beat. Buffalo's really hard to beat at home. It's really going to be hard. So we're going to see. But there's no better matchup than Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen right now. It's going to be spectacular. It just is. Like, comment, subscribe, share. See you on the next one. Peace.